What if the man who once bragged, "I wish her well," about Ghislaine Maxwell now deploys the Attorney General, the FBI Director, and a situation room full of goons to bully two Republican congresswomen into silencing the dead pedophile's secrets forever? Imagine Donald J. Trump, the self-proclaimed law and order president, reduced to frantic phone-stalking Nancy Mace and summoning Lauren Boebert to the most secure room in America not to discuss terrorism, but to intimidate her into ripping her name off a petition that would finally force the release of every last Epstein file bearing his fingerprints. And here's the delicious, damning punchline. On November 15, 2025, after the longest government shutdown in history was engineered specifically to delay Adelita Grijalva's swearing-in, the exact 218th signature needed, Trump's mafia-style muscle on Boebert and Mace backfired so spectacularly that even Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie are now locked in for transparency, turning the MAGA bases, drain the swamp, chant into a noose around their own dear leader's neck. America, this isn't a presidency. It's a panic attack in a pinstripe suit, a cornered predator clawing at the walls of his own gilded cage as the Epstein emails, those smoking guns from the grave, whisper that the dog that never barked was Trump himself. The stench of desperation wafting from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has become so thick you could bottle it and sell it as eau de indictment. It all crystallized this week when House Democrats, led by the relentless Robert Garcia and Anna Paulina Luna's unlikely bipartisan alliance, dropped a tranche of Epstein emails that read like a horror novel Trump wishes he could ban. In 2011, Epstein to Maxwell. "That dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Redacted victim. Spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned." Maxwell's reply. A chilling, "I have been thinking about that." In 2019, Epstein to Michael Wolff. Of course he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. And the piece de resistance. A 2015 exchange where Epstein seeks PR advice on how to handle Trump's upcoming CNN interview, with Wolff suggesting that if Trump denies ever being on the plane or at the house, Epstein could hang him for political currency. Translation. Epstein believed he held leverage over Trump because Trump knew. Not that he stole my staffer's fairy tale Trump peddles, but knew about the systematic trafficking of minors. The same Trump who flew on the Lolita Express 7 times, who partied at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse, who hosted him at Mar-a-Lago so often that staff called it Epstein's playground. Trump's response to this thermonuclear revelation. Not denial with evidence. Not righteous indignation. Not even a coherent lie. Instead, he unleashed the full apparatus of the state to bully 2 Republican women into betraying their own principles. First, the Situation Room Summit. Yes, the Situation Room, the sanctum where presidents plot wars and thwart terror attacks, transformed into a scene from The Sopranos. Pam Bondi, Trump's hand-picked Attorney General and Florida fixer, Kash Patel, the conspiracy-peddling FBI Director, Todd Blanche, the Deputy AG, and Lauren Boebert herself, summoned like a mob underboss for a chat. The pitch. Sweet at first. Promises of support, committee perks, the usual transactional slime. When Boebert balked, the tone allegedly darkened. Vague threats, whispers of political consequences, the kind of "nice career you got there. Shame if something happened to it," intimidation that would make Tony Soprano blush. Boebert, to her eternal credit, and Trump's eternal horror, didn't fold. Sources say the heavy-handedness backfired spectacularly. She grew more suspicious, convinced there was a conspiracy to hide something explosive. Her name stayed on the petition. Nancy Mace got the velvet glove treatment, or rather the missed call treatment. Trump himself reportedly rang her up, desperate to flip another signature. Mace, a rape survivor who has made her trauma a cornerstone of her political identity, sent him a letter that should be framed in the National Archives. Transparency on Epstein isn't negotiable. She later posted on social media that this was deeply personal, a survivor standing firm against a president who once wished Ghislaine Maxwell well, as she faced sentencing for trafficking minors. Mace's defiance wasn't just principled. It was poetic justice, A woman who knows violation refusing to be violated again by Trump's strong-arm tactics. The irony is thicker than the makeup caked on Trump's bruised hands. The party of Back the Blue and Law and Order deployed the Attorney General and FBI Director to intimidate duly elected members of Congress into suppressing evidence in a child sex trafficking investigation. The party that screams deep state weaponized the actual state, Situation Room no less, to protect one man from the consequences of his own past. And the kicker, even Marjorie Taylor Greene, the QAnon queen herself, signed the petition. The woman who once peddled Jewish space lasers now lasers in on Epstein transparency, leaving Trump isolated in his own cult. This entire circus was choreographed during the 43-day government shutdown, America's longest, specifically engineered to keep Adelita Grijalva unsworn and the discharge petition one signature short of 218. Mike Johnson, the speaker who fancies himself a constitutional scholar, held the House dark for 53 days. A vacation longer than the shutdown itself, all to delay Grijalva's oath. When the Senate finally forced the CR through, Johnson called the House back for a pathetic 8-hour session, just long enough to swear her in, watch her sign, and then adjourn again like a thief fleeing the scene of his own crime. Grijalva's oath wasn't just ceremonial. It was the death knell for Trump's cover-up. The petition ripened. The vote is coming in early December. And Ro Khanna predicts 40 to 50 Republicans will join Democrats to pass it. Trump's spin machine went into overdrive. Caroline Leavitt, from the White House podium, bleated the party line. Hoax. Distraction. No coincidences in Washington. Claiming Democrats timed the leaks to overshadow the government reopening. Because apparently, releasing evidence of a president's potential complicity in child sex trafficking knowledge is just partisan timing. The emails prove absolutely nothing, she insisted, as if Epstein writing he knew about the girls is just locker room chit-chat. Trump himself raged on Truth Social. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap. Translation: anyone who believes in transparency is the real traitor. But the trap sprung the other way. The harder Trump squeezed, the more Republicans rebelled. Thomas Massie, the libertarian conscience of the caucus, co-sponsored the bill. Green, once Trump's most feral defender, signed on. Boebert and Mace held firm. The MAGA base, raised on lock her up and drain the swamp, now watches their dear leader deploy the swamp's darkest tools to protect himself. The cognitive dissonance is delicious. The same voters who chanted for Hillary's emails now watched Trump bully women to bury Epstein's. The same crowd that screamed pedophiles at Democrats suddenly discovers nuance when the name attached is Donald J. Trump. The emails themselves are devastating. Epstein in 2017 calling Trump a maniac with not one decent cell in his body and signs of early dementia. Ironic coming from a man now dead by his own hand in a jail cell. Epstein in 2015 plotting how to leverage Trump's denials for political currency. Epstein in 2011 marveling that Trump, after hours with a victim, has never once been mentioned. These aren't nothing. These are breadcrumbs leading straight to Mar-a-Lago's door, where Epstein and Maxwell hunted, where Trump partied, where the dog that hasn't barked was allowed to roam free because barking might bite the hand that fed it. Trump's defense has always been a moving target. First, I never met him. Then, I met him a few times. Then, we were friends for 15 years but I banned him from Mar-a-Lago when he stole staff. Fact check. Epstein was photographed at Mar-a-Lago in 2000 after the alleged ban. Then, I haven't spoken to him in 15 years. Fact check. Phone logs show calls into the 2000s. Then, I wish Ghislaine well. Then, hoax. The man changes stories more often than he changes his socks, if he changes them at all. The political calculus is brutal. A Republican House voting to release files that implicate their own president. That's not just embarrassment. It's existential. 40 to 50 GOP votes would signal open revolt. The base, already fracturing over affordability, 33% approval on economy per AP, would erupt. QAnon acolytes who once screamed "Save the children" would be forced to choose their savior or the survivors. And Trump knows it. That's why the Situation Room became a shakedown room. That's why Bondi and Patel were deployed like enforcers. That's why Johnson adjourned after 8 hours like a child hiding under the bed from the monster he created. This is what authoritarian decay looks like in real time. A president so terrified of his own past that he weaponizes the state against his own party. A speaker so spineless he adjourns Congress to protect one man. An attorney general and FBI director reduced to kneecappers for a cover-up. And 2 women, Boebert and Mace, who refused to be silenced. Survivors in their own ways, standing taller than the man who wished their trafficker well. The vote is coming. The files are coming. And when they do, the dog that never barked might finally howl. Trump's empire of lies, built on denial and deflection, is cracking under the weight of truth. The Epstein files aren't just documents, they're dynamite. And the fuse is lit.